far my experience with Dribble's product design course has been great.
Jesse is also an amazing teacher, and he's able to deliver the content in a way that's very easy to understand.
The content in Jesse's videos are super easy to digest and follow.
He really just breaks everything down well, and it's really easy to learn.
So far the experience has been absolutely amazing. The mentors and instructors have been so cool.
I really dig the mentor sessions and how things are really split up.
I personally like how small our mentor group is and how hands-on this course is as well.
I love the self-paced format of this course. I work full-time, and having this format allows me to study whenever it's more convenient for me. And the Slack community has been a huge hit.
And there's a really good feel for community. I absolutely love it, and I'm really excited to be on this journey. Check it out.
Thing I'm really excited about this course is connecting with other students as we grow into this career together.
I'm most excited about connecting with other designers throughout this course, as well as really using Figma as a tool and hopefully becoming a Figma master.
I hope to gain new skills, meet new people, and just hopefully at the end of this land a job as a junior product designer.
I'm also really looking forward to have somebody give me live, actionable feedback on all the different case studies and designs that I will be putting together. I can't wait to get started. I decided to apply to Dribble's product design course because I'm looking to build a foundation that will allow me to enter into this career space.
I'm a graphic designer looking to get into product design, so I made the choice to join Dribble's product design course.
I have experience working mainly in print and have dabbled here and there in digital design, but I would like to shift gears into a career path that applies more of UI and UX.
I always wanted to expand my knowledge in UX and UI. I decided to take my print and product design skills and kind of take them to the next level.
A unique combination of having access to self-paced lessons, access to an amazing Slack community, as well as getting a mentor assigned to me were big factors that went into my decision, and I could not be happier.
Hello, everyone. Madeline from Dribbble here. I'm the program manager of education. It's so great to see so many of you guys in here. We've got 117 people online, all here to learn from Jesse himself about our 12-week product design course. We're so excited that you've chosen to learn a bit more about this course with us. I'd love to hear where you guys are joining from. I know that you guys have been putting in the chat. We've got some Orange County folks. I'm joining from Canada, west coast of Canada. Very rainy over here, waiting for the summer to begin. We've got Australia, Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Florida Keys, amazing. India, Pakistan, a real international bunch. Romania, awesome. Well, thank you for joining. And if it's late at night, thank you for staying up. We've had some people join these live events at like 1 a.m. their time. So appreciate your dedication to learning about our course. So today we've got Jesse here, who is the creator of our 12-week product design course. He's filmed all the video content of our product design course. So as part of the course, you get about 1 to 2 hours per week of video content from Jesse. And then on top of that, you have a live mentorship session each week. So you have a 2-hour mentorship session where you get to interact and design alongside industry expert mentors, and you get that video content from Jesse. You're doing assignments each week. You're getting your assignments marked and given feedback from your expert mentor, and you really learn and grow together. You have the opportunity to create 3 capstone projects throughout the course, which is really exciting. And you also create your portfolio on Dribbble, and we share that with our network of hiring managers. So you would have seen in the introduction, the testimonials from our students in the course at the moment. A lot of them are career switchers. A lot of them are graphic designers, print designers, and want to learn more about UI, UX. And they found this course so valuable. So let us know any questions you have in the Q&A tab. You'll see a Q&A tab. If you like a question, upvote it. The more votes a question has, it rises to the top. Jesse's going to be doing some Q&A at the end of this. We also have the ability for you guys to DM us. So if you need any help, then just DM us. And we're here throughout the whole time. So if you run into any technical difficulties, we're also streaming this onto YouTube. So hello to all our friends on YouTube. You guys will all get a recording of this session after this. And really great announcement, I'm able to share with you a specific special 40% discount code to our course. At the moment, it's going to be full price as of tomorrow, which is $2,999, nearly $3,000. For everyone who's attended this session, you get a 40% discount to the next course. It's starting the 6th of June, so in a couple of weeks, and I'll drop the 40% off link in the chat in just a second. So I'd love to introduce Jesse Showalter. You guys have probably seen him, heard of him, seen his videos. He's an incredible instructor, incredible teacher. He's hailing from Texas, and he's a full stack designer, front-end developer, and online design educator. He's worked with really influential brands such as Adobe, Nike, Sketch, Bravo, and Affinity, and he's got over 12 years of experience developing products from concept to production. We're so excited to have him here and to have him create the course alongside Dribbble. So without further ado, I'll get Jesse up here.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the introduction of the course. I'm really excited. I'm Jesse Showalter, and there's a ton of people here today from all over the world. I'm in the Texas area, and so it is a beautiful, hot summer day outside for me, and I'm excited to be here and just kind of walk you through not only a little bit of the curriculum, like what kind of stuff will you learn, but we'll get a little hands-on together. We'll have a little bit of fun. We'll answer some questions. If you have questions about career or freelancing or Figma or product design or what it's like to work at an agency, I'm not the fount of all knowledge. I'm just a fount of like this little teeny tiny bit, but I want to share all of that little teeny tiny bit with you from the last 15 years of my career. So hello to people from Nigeria and people coming in from India and Brooklyn and all over the place. We're excited. We're going to dive right in. I'm going to share my screen. There's going to be some interactive parts of this little session where you can jump in with me. And there's going to be some times where you kick back and kind of see what we're talking about. We want to talk about becoming a product designer this year in 2022. We want to talk about the skills that are required and what it really needs, like the way of thinking, the mindset of becoming a product designer. And in this course, we talk about all of this. We're going to be talking about things like, for instance, what is it to do research and have empathy for users? And, let's talk about workflow and process and leadership, how to actually lead people, ask good questions. We're going to talk about things like, obviously, visual design, UI patterns. We talk about wireframing and simplifying things, rapid prototyping inside of Figma or other design tools, how to test your designs to make sure they're actually going to find product market fit. We're going to use words like that a lot in the course so that you understand that this course is not just about visual design. It's not about posting one single shot on Dribbble, which is awesome, but it's about creating working products that you can throw these awesome case studies online because you're actually designing things that work and solve real world problems. That's my heart. That's my desire. And if that's your desire too, to solve people's problems and get paid really well while you're doing it, this might be the right intro session for you. So we're going to talk about team skills, how to document design. Sounds really boring, but it's very, very important. It's going to make you the most popular person within your organization. And everybody on the dev team is going to be a big fan of you if you learn how to document your design. We're going to talk about design thinking, passion, creativity, all of that. And a lot of these revolve around some of these core techniques. These are just a few of them that I threw out really quickly, but testing, user flow diagrams, prototyping, wireframe, UI design. These techniques are the vehicle that will help you deliver all of these amazing skills that you're actually going to learn throughout the course. And so we're going to actually just jump over here really quickly. And apparently some people are having trouble kind of hearing. If you're having trouble hearing, refresh in the browser. And when you come back off that refresh, ask a question, right? Put a question up in the Q&A or upvote one of the a similar question you already had so we can start kind of like interacting a little bit. Right, so let's just do that right now, really quickly. We'll jump off my screen. There was one question in the Q&A up there. Let's answer it really quick. We'll jump back onto the screen. So Abhish says, should a designer learn development? Is that a needed skill? I don't think it's a needed skill. It could be a helpful skill. When I started out in this industry, I started out traditionally in print design, moved into web design, started designing mobile applications, and really found my passion in digital product design, focusing on UI and UX design. Now, I also, along that pathway, learned how to do front-end development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, because I was building websites. Learned a little bit of back-end development. That was just something I found to be interesting. It wasn't actually really needed. But let me tell you, one thing it's really going to help you do is understand the medium in which you're designing for. If you're a print designer, you need to understand card stocks and paperweights and vendors and printers. That is the medium in which you are designing for. If you're designing for the web, if you're designing for mobile, it's helpful to know what makes sense, what's common, what's useful, what's possible. And so maybe just not learning how to be a full-time developer, but maybe just learning what's possible so you can speak the language a little bit. A helpful tip for you out there, if you want to learn how to speak the language of web design, go fool around with Webflow for a day. Just spend a weekend trying to build stuff in Webflow, and you'll start learning things about front-end development like positioning and CSS and typography and padding and margin in the box model. You'll learn all that stuff through a simple visual tool. So quick little tip for you. That should be some fun. It's a fun way to spend a weekend. Crack a beer, like open up a Webflow, try to recreate one of your designs, and then mess up a lot and learn a bunch. It'll be fun. All right, we're going to jump back over to my screen. We're going to talk about one of those techniques that will help you deliver those skills, which is user flow diagrams. Now, this is something that looks really boring, but this is something that helps you to actually create structure and a plan to get a user from point A to point B. And now within point A and point B, there's a lot of things that are happening. If you open up a mobile application and you sign up or you sign in to your favorite application, it's not just one step. There's usually multiple steps. And so as part of that being helpful to developers kind of like mentality, being part of a team that solves problems for the digital space, we as product designers use something called user flow diagrams quite a bit. And now we use a bunch of shapes, we use lines, we use these different tags so that we can kind of assign meaning and create flows, how the user might flow from one area of your application or design into another. Now, at first, we want to really hyper focus on what we call red routes. You'll learn more about this in the course. Red routes are the most common, the most popular. Think of a pathway that you might walk, right? Or like a quad area at a university, right? Quite often, there's paved pathways that go from classroom A to classroom B, and there might be some other classrooms all around. And those paved pathways are great, but a lot of times people just cut across the lawn, won't they? Because that's the fastest route to get from A to B. And so oftentimes we can think about this beautiful design, we can lay these beautiful digital pathways, and we forget that the easiest route might be this way. So we want to focus on those red routes first, and then later on we can figure out how we design around that, what other side trails the user might want to take. For instance, in our analogy, if you're curving onto the grass and wearing that little goat path out, because that's the quickest way to your class, along the way, we might say, well, what if our user needs to go to the bathroom? That's a separate path or journey they're going to have to take, but that doesn't detour from our main route, our red route. So in this use case, in this example, we have a sign up or a sign in flow. You've seen this quite often. Sign out of your Instagram right now and try to sign back in. You'll experience this flow. Sign out of anything or download a new application in the App Store, and you will be presented with this flow. But if you've never talked or walked your way through it or built a diagram, you might go, oh, there's a little bit more going on there. Within a user flow diagram, often we use circles. There are some industry standards, and that's something we talk about in this course. What's industry standard? What should you know? What should you always use and kind of adhere yourself to? What things are organization or team specific? Well, for instance, when we create a user flow diagram, using a circle as your entry and exit point, the start and the finish of your flow, it's pretty standard, right? And then we use lines to direct from one interaction to another. So maybe you're out there and you've built websites. Put a little emoji hand up there if you've ever designed a website or even tried to design a website. Let me know. I want to see some little emojis in the chat possibly. Okay. Oh, we got some people double hands like websites, like that's you. All right. So maybe you've designed websites and you've built something like a sitemap and you've gone, yeah, obviously the user clicks here and yeah, lots of people building websites and they go over to here. That's good. That's absolutely great. But when we bring that same mentality into designing digital products, software, mobile applications, that's a very screen focused mentality or design way of thinking, design thinking. Instead, we need to think in flows because flows are built out of multiple pages, right? Whereas designing a single page is very singular. It's very closed off and separate from everything else. A good web designer would probably think of flows. For instance, if you have like a checkout experience on your WordPress site and you're using WooCommerce or something like that, you need to think about how the user moves from here to the cart and the cart to the checkout. That's a user flow, but we're just going to drill down on these a little bit more. So they enter, most likely downloading the application of some kind, and then they're presented with some sort of home screen, a sign-in screen, whatever it is. And now I tend to style my screens within the flows this way. They have a little like tab bar navigation. That's just me. That's not industry standard. A lot of people just use gray boxes or shapes. But here is another one of those industry standards, a decision diamond. Now, we know that this shape is very different from our rectangles or our circles. We know that here the user has the option to make a choice. What are we building again? Sign up or sign in? Therein lies our choice. Does the user need to log in or does the user need to sign up? And we use our tags to annotate what each of those decisions are. Now, you might get really, really complex as you're designing user flow diagrams. They might have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different pathways. But if you have so many different pathways, quick side note, you might want to come back and reassess and say, boy, there's a lot of choices here. Can we simplify these choices? And so tools like this, like user flow diagrams that you will learn in the course. And side note, really quickly, let's jump off the screen. Let's just chat a little bit, you and me here. As you get into this course, if you decide to take it, and I hope you do because I firmly believe in the value of this course, you will have mentors that after you take your video curriculum from me, after you have a live session from someone like me or an industry leader like MDS or Brad Frost, you will then have time with your mentors to implement things. And if you're going, I don't understand, what did Jesse say about that stinking decision diamond? Your mentor will be there with you hands-on to walk you through these things. And you will be challenged to create user flow diagrams. One of the things we do inside of our course is we have our students create a dog walking application. It's basically the Uber of a dog walking app. And that idea forces you, the student, to learn how to serve them, the user. Who's the user? The person who needs to find somebody to walk their dog, or the person who wants to walk dogs professionally. That's your user. Those are the problems that Uber solved with car rides and car sharing and taxis. They solved those problems, and they were simple problems, and they use tools like what you're going to learn throughout this course. And so it will force you. This is not like some other video course where you just get to take it at your own kind of pace and you forget about it and you lose interest. It's not a Udemy course where you're going to be like, I paid $5 for it and went, I don't even care. This is the thing where you're going to show up and go, your mentor's going to look you in the eye and go, how'd you do? Do you have any questions? You didn't do it? Why not? Right? So they're going to be there with you. You're going to have the community, the other students who you can lean on and ask questions. It's, for me, the only way I would make a course like this is with Dribbble, who would offer this type of built-in mentorship system, because I had mentors in my life and I've had solid community in my life, and I want you to have that as well. So I just want to throw that out there. It's unlike anything you've ever experienced. Let's jump back in and talk a little bit more about these decisions. You'll be learning how to document here. And so the decision now is, does the user need to log in or sign up? Where does that lead them? Well, obviously to a sign up page, and obviously to a login page. But now we have to think, remember those little sub routes we talked about? Remember the bathroom trip on the university? Here's one of those. After they sign up, they probably get led to a confirmation screen or somehow wrapped around directly to back to that login page so they continue their process. And if you don't think through these things, you start to have a huge issue, right? So now the user has an account and they're led around to our login page, okay? So from here, what do? Like, we're trying to, there's still more process that can happen. What happens if the user tries to log in and somehow they had an incorrect password, right? So now we have to think about, oh, I forgot my password. Let's put that somewhere up here. And let's take this thing right here and we will spin it around. I'm just going to flip vertically. And I'll come in here one more time in Figma. I'm holding down Shift V and flipping that vertically. Fine. So they tried to log in and maybe they did that incorrectly. And now they've been led to a forgot password. That's fine. And then maybe if they did it correctly, they've been led around somewhere else. But this is the thought process that you're trying to do, is get the user to the dashboard and start using your application. Now, once you are done here, you're going to want to take this information. And I know so many of us are so excited. We're like, I understand it now. I'm going to start designing. That's actually a no-no, because we understand that part of this process, and I'm going to give you a little insight. This is a type of file that you'll get in Figma inside of the course. This is one of our possible capstone projects. You will do a capstone project throughout your time, and you will have your dog walking application is part of that. And then there's multiple others you can choose from that are provided for you like this. But then if you just have something you're passionate about, you can make that your capstone project. Maybe you have an idea to launch your own startup or your own product. Let that be your capstone product. But use the skills you've learned through the course to design this amazing capstone project that's going to become a banging case study that you could use on your Dribbble profile. It's going to be awesome. But here's what you're really going to start diving into immediately in the course. This is the product design process. The product design process is not, I have an idea, create a beautiful full-fledged visual design with color, typography, and imagery. That's not product design. We have to start first with research and empathy. And then we're going to define the requirements. We need to make sure that the problem we're trying to solve is real. Is it a needed problem? What happens if we don't solve this problem? And so you're going to learn how to create what's called a problem statement. And once you've created that problem statement that looks a little something like this, it's another thing you'll learn how to do inside of the course, is create this problem statement. What are the user's problems? What are they trying to solve? Who's your user? What are their needs, right? What are their pain points? We're going to continue through. What's the risks and rewards, the ideas and validation, and create a set of project goals for yourself. Then, while you're researching, you might create something called a user persona. This is an example. It's a condensed, version, like a theoretical, representation of who your user actually is. And so in this case, we have a young entrepreneur in the creative space who needs an email that doesn't look like old clunky Microsoft Outlook. Sorry, Outlook users, it's clunky, right? They need something a little bit slicker, something that operates a little bit more like text message. Here's the question. How are you going to solve Sasha Levy's problem, who's a fictitious person, by the way, but represents a real demographic that have real user like needs and pain points. How do you, as a problem solver, solve for a problem? Well, I'll tell you, back to it. We don't solve it by immediately just designing something beautiful. We start to ideate. Okay, that's step number 3. We ideate, and then immediately we prototype. Okay, we don't go to beautiful refine and delivery, full-fledged designs. We create wireframes and with prototypes that click from screen to screen, and we test the hell out of those things. And if it doesn't work, we go back around, back to the drawing board. We ideate again. We come up with new ideas. We prototype, we test them, and then we come back around. We loop this until we really feel like we're solving those problems, right? This is what Uber did. This is what Airbnb has done and continues to do. This is what industry leaders do. They think in this product design process. So once you've completed enough testing loops where you feel like we really know what we're doing, then you can refine and deliver. But your job's not over as a digital product designer. You can always make things better. So after you've delivered it, it's launched into the App Store, people are using it, you are a multimillionaire entrepreneur because you designed your capstone project and it went off the charts and everybody loves you. It's number 1 on Product Hunt today, maybe. Well, then it's time to measure what you're doing, analyze, and guess what? Loop back around, create new ideas on how to improve it, how to make it better. Guess where Uber Eats came from? Uber. That's right. So we come up with new ideas based off of successes and failures and the way that our users are using things. We wrap back around and we keep working that process. And this makes products better and better and better. And it makes you a better product designer for it. And so this is the product design process that you will be challenged to learn throughout this course. It's not visual design. It's not graphic design. Now, graphic design, visual design, all of those things are tools that we will use to build those vehicles that will help you to use those skills. I hope that makes sense. And so as we're doing this, we might start creating something like some wireframes, okay? Now you've probably heard of wireframes, obviously, a lot of gray boxes, such like so on and so forth. And these wireframes are really gonna start laying out, like everything that we should see in our user flow diagrams, right? So as we go back, we should see an entry point, some sort of landing page, a decision that needs to be made. Do we see that? An entry page, landing page, right? Where's our decision to be made? Already have an account, log in. So now a wireframe is really the zooming in from that 10,000 foot view that is the user flow diagram. So we look at things from a 10,000 foot view with user flow diagrams. We zoom into the individual screens, and each of these screens become a step in our user flow. Now, what's really fun, you'll learn this in the classes. What's great is after you've zoomed in, take everything you've built and created here wireframe wise, zoom back out with them, and then create what we call screen flows. So we'll start taking our screens and we'll start implementing them. I'm gonna hit K to scale everything down inside of Figma, just like that. And we'll start implementing them into our user flow diagrams. And these will start to become screen flows. And now we can present these to stakeholders, to clients, and we can get good feedback and say, do we see now how the user should flow from this screen to that screen and that screen to this screen? You will learn workflows that will help you to be very successful. And I truly believe in my heart of hearts that when you're done with this course, if with everything that you've learned, with the time you've spent with your mentors, with your capstone projects, and being linked and hooked into Dribble's hiring network, I believe that you will be ready to start applying as a junior product designer. Because in my experience, I've hired junior product designers, okay? I've been part of those teams. And a lot of them don't know these things. A lot of them get hired going, I would have never known about a screen flow. But you're gonna learn all of those things and more in the course. You're gonna be so ready to start that application process. You're gonna have these skills. Are you gonna be perfect? Are you gonna be a senior product designer? Are you gonna be a creative director? No, we're not making that claim. But you will learn all the foundational basics of digital product design, the process, the workflow, the mentality, the way of thinking that will help you to be really successful as you start that process. And so we'll start building out wireframes. We'll go back, we'll build out screen flows. We will start prototyping. Obviously, we'll move over in Figma to our prototype tab there, away from our design tab, and we will show you how to actually create prototypes, where we actually grab elements and wire them from one screen to another, so that when we press our beautiful play button inside of Figma, and again, we're using Figma throughout this course because I think Figma is a great tool. I think it's an all-encompassing, powerful tool that lets you do all of this. If at the end of this you go, I think I prefer Adobe XD, Doesn't matter. The tool it doesn't actually matter. It's the knowledge of how to build the structure, of how to build the house. If you say, I prefer a Phillips screwdriver over a flathead screwdriver, fine. But you know how to make that house square. You know how to make that house level. So that's what we're trying to teach you, is how to think like an architect, and then the tools may change. And so I like Figma. If you like something else, that's cool. But we'll teach you how to create prototypes like this, where like, hey, I need to actually fill in my information, and then I already have an account. We'll move over. We're going to teach you how to do all of this and more, right? So you'll learn about Smart Animate, interactions, Figma, auto layout, all the little tips and tricks that I use, all my workflow stuff that I use in Figma. And this is not only my experience in Figma, but the workflow things that I've learned and kind of like gleaned over the last 14 or 15 years of my career. I want to teach all that stuff to you as well. So we'll create some wireframes, and then we will eventually move into UI design. You'll learn how to use a tool like Figma to start actually creating beautiful designs, right? And you can see these designs, they look really, really similar to our wireframe, but we've started to establish a rhythm of color and typography. We've started to kind of link everything together. We've built our flows out. We've started to add some new flows. And so I thought it'd be fun right now, because everybody loves getting to the UI design portion of it, because that's real fun. I figured, hey, let's right now really quickly, we'll leave this, we'll jump over into a little bit of a FigJam file. I'm going to invite you to it, and we can all play around together a little bit with a couple of challenges. Won't that be fun? A couple of interactive challenges. So I've got Figma open. If you have Figma, you should open it up. If not, that's cool, because Figma has a great new feature that actually just launched recently called Open Session. So we're going to start an open session. Anybody with this link, whether you have a Figma account or not, for the next 24 hours should be able to play with this link. So I'm going to pop that in there for you. It is in the chat, and while you are kind of clicking that link, look, people are already jumping in. Oh, so many people. Let's answer a few questions. We'll jump off of my screen, answer a couple questions, and we will start playing around a little bit together. All right. So Luciana Moraes says, what is the level of experience that people have after completion? What kind of jobs can people start applying for? We kind of talked about that a little bit. The types of jobs that I think you'll be able to start applying for immediately are junior product design positions. Let's dive into this idea a little bit. What is a junior product designer? What do they do, right? Where might they find work, or where might they start applying? Well, a junior product designer is going to be the person who joins the team that has the knowledge, who understands the foundational principles, and is able to lend their talents and their insights to an already established product design team, most likely. I hope that makes sense. You're not going to come in most likely as a junior product designer and be handed a project and say, you need to figure this out from start to finish. But a junior product designer might jump into a really cool team. You guys are drawing amazing things in FigJam, by the way. I love it. And you might be able to jump into this really amazing team, and they'll give you a section. They'll say, we need to figure out this problem. Our users are having trouble finishing their cart checkout process, and we need you to research this a little bit, fix this, make some sense of this. That might be something you might be handed. You'll be a part of that team. You're going to learn a lot, but you're going to have the ability to immediately start making problem statements, start doing some user research, figure things out, and apply these skills. And so the level of experience that you will have is to dive into those teams, start actually working on real life projects and making an impact. There are organizations all around the world like this, big ones, medium-sized ones, small startups, Apple, Adobe, Facebook, who are looking for junior product designers like you who have these skills. So I believe Jessica Coe is also going to be part of our next cohort. She was a hiring manager at Google, and she's going to give you tons more insights into what it looks like to hire a junior product designer like you. That's a great question. Let's answer one more, and we'll jump into this mad drawing session we have going on at FigJam. It's going to be so fun. Hassan says, is there any difference between product design and UX and UI design? Yes, there is a difference. It's going to be a hot take. Some people are like, no, they're the same things. They are not the same things. But here's the difference. You'll learn this in the course. Product designers are also responsible for thinking about the business aspects of the product. They can't just, like a UI designer, trust me, I have been a freelance UI and UX designer. I've been called in on projects just to do some UI design or just to do some UX design. And I will do that work regardless of what the business's goals and direction are. If they pay me to do UI design, I'll do UI design. But as a product designer, you now will have a seat at the table to discuss whether or not these problems you're solving are even worthwhile. So you can think of it like this. A UI and a UX designer are kind of like the architect, okay? And like where I would say the UX designer is the architect of any building that's built. Think of a skyscraper in New York. Your UX designer is going to be your architect. They're going to think about all the structural things that need to take place to make sure that that building is sound. The UI designer is going to come in and do maybe some of the visual design of that building, maybe the interior design of that building, maybe staging and furniture and all that stuff. So what's the product designer do? The product designer is the city planner. The product designer is making sure that that city needs that building in that location. And if it doesn't need that building in that location, then they're going to come up with a different building or different business to plant there inside of that city. And that product designer doesn't stop there. That product designer will help to oversee, maybe even participate in those UI and UX design processes. So the city planner has a larger role to play and stake in that individual product or that building. That's the difference between product design and UI UX design. UI and UX design are executing on the visions and the goals of the product design team. But what's great is product designers also are UI and UX designers. They have that seat at the table and they have the skills to create. That's the difference. You're going to do all of those things. These are great questions. And now we're going to jump back to my screen where y'all have been drawing like a bunch of messy toddlers, and I love it. Don't be offended. It's really, really good. Okay, so I am going to, I think, have to, yeah, you guys keep drawing. That's cool. I'm going to do a little work over here to the side. And we are all a friendly family here, so nobody mess with my drawings or ruin my drawings. I want everybody to pick a space on the canvas. Everybody pick their own space. Don't write over other people's spaces. We're all going to honor system, be really nice. We're going to grab our pen tool, and everybody in your own space is going to draw 1, 2. Oh, somebody's already deleted my stuff. That's all right. 1, 2, 3 lines that way, and 1, 2 lines that way. Okay, so you're going to draw 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and that is the wrong formula. Let's go back. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 line through like this. That's what we actually want. When you're done drawing your little structure, it should look something like this. I'm actually going to, in FigJam, grab all of my lines, press Command or Control G, depending on your operating system, and group them together. And I have this really ugly grid, okay? I'm going to hit T for typography. I'm going to type the word, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to call this Crazy Eights, and you can change the size inside of Figma. And what's great is now in FigJam, they just changed this. You can make your text any size you want. There's no limitations, all right? So this is my Crazy Eights that I've grouped together. Crazy Eights is a way for you to actually start designing and iterating very quickly upon ideas, okay? So we're just gonna have a little fun with this. You might do this in like your teams, and I'm just gonna grab this and make sure nothing is funky with it, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful. Nice Crazy Eights, okay? Crazy Eights is a method of wireframing and ideating and conceptualizing that will have you do things really fast. And usually when you do Crazy Eights, you'll pick a topic. Like for instance, we will do, I'm going to create some requirements over here on the side. I'm going to zoom in really quickly, and I'm going to grab, I always love this part of these sessions because it's real messy, and I like things to be a little bit messy. I like things to be a little bit creative. This is where we all learn, right? All right, I'm just going to put recs right here. These are my requirements. I'm going to bump this up and make this extra large. Okay, here's our requirements for the project, and these are going to be the requirements for everybody. Don't you tape over my stuff. Here we go. I'm going to put it right here. Here's our requirements. Number 1, it needs to be a home page, okay? A home screen. It needs to have 2 types of content, okay, on it. And number 3, it must be in the gaming space. So think live streaming, think gaming, think Twitch, think all of these things, or YouTube gaming. I want you right now to, on your own Crazy Eights, right? I have mine right here. I want you to, everyone's getting messy. It's okay. I love you guys, and I forgive you. Everybody in their own Crazy Eights, if you can, don't mess with other people's stuff. I want you to just really quickly take your pen tool and start drawing immediately what an iOS mobile application looks like that has a home screen, 2 types of content, and it must be in the gaming space. And we're going to do this for the next 60 seconds. So I'm actually going to use a fun little tool up here where we turn on a timer. Ready? The timer is going to be for 2 minutes. Like this, and we press play. The timer's on here in FigJam. Everybody's got 2 minutes. Start drawing. I'm going to draw a box here. If you want to just watch, that's fine as well. This box represents my iPhone device. I'm going to draw this. I'm I'm going to draw that. I'm going to take these. I'm just going to make a couple duplicates of these so I have stuff to work in. I'm back to my pen tool, and I'm thinking 2 types of content. What types of content do we have? We probably have live streams right here. Boom, boom, boom. And so I'm going to do that. This is going to be like a horizontal scroll. And then I'm going to cheat and say my other type of content is doing something where we can follow accounts, right? These are different streamers. So I'm going to grab these and group them together. And now I have a streamer account. Okay. But probably within here, there's other side little things, like here's an avatar maybe for your user stuff. I'm going to put a little hamburger menu there. Let's do a bottom navigation. I'm holding down Shift inside of FigJam. When you draw like that, holding Shift, you get straight lines. And let's say these are opportunities for navigation items down below. Beautiful. Back with V. I'm going to grab all of my navigation stuff. Command G, group it together. I like this. I'm probably going to try it again over here. And let's try to put these in a different way. So I'm going to grab my box here. I'm going to move this in. Maybe we do really big for streaming like this. Beautiful. Here's a different type of content. And then we'll bring our user cards in, and we'll stack them this way instead. These are rough, these are dirty, these are gross. Let's try abandoning our bottom navigation over here. I'm just going to drag and grab all of these things, and I'm copying and bringing this in. Maybe we'll just have nothing but a slide out panel. We'll try that. We'll see. We're prototyping really, really fast. People are copying my stuff. Copying is good. It's the biggest form of compliment to copy. We'll do kind of like Apple, iOS store kind of cards in multiple columns. Let's try that. We have 9 seconds left. Oh my gosh, we're almost out of time, and I only got these 3 versions down. But that's great, because now we can talk about these 3 versions. Boom, we're done. Our timer is done. Hey, you know what we just did right there? We led a little bit of a design and a creative ideation session, and we'll talk about that actually a little bit. When we get into our chapters in the course, we talk about empathy mapping. We'll talk about how you, as a designer on your team, can lead sessions where you encourage others to bring their creativity to the table. We'll talk about how to set people up on timers. Everyone can think about these things collaboratively, and how to strip them down to start finding problems. We actually talk about that in the course as well. I'm going to just zoom out and look at some of all of your work, and you can continue working. This isn't like Chef Gordon Ramsay where it's like, put your spatulas and your tools down, you're done. No, keep working if you want to. I just want to take a look at some of the things you're doing. People are creating crazy eights, and they're creating different types of content on the page. I like it. Some people are doing just writing home screen. This is messy. This is real messy stuff. Other people are starting timers and having all sorts of fun. I love it. I love it. I love all of it. Look, somebody's doing similar stuff to me over here, and you've learned a new technique. I love this one as well. Actually, now in FigJam, somebody figured out that you can do these, they call them sections, right? So we can actually, like this person did, this is JP's Crazy 8. I can take this section tag that's new to FigJam. I can draw it around my stuff, and now I can make sure that that's mine. So I can just type Jesse's right in there, all right? And so pretty cool, right? We're just learning techniques, and you'll learn a lot more different techniques like this inside of the course. We got about 20 minutes left. I want to leave about 10 minutes of solid time at the end so that we can ask lots of Q&As. But we're going to jump over right now, and we're going to jump back to our high fidelity design stuff. Keep drawing if you want, play, right? Put that stuff over there. Just listen in the background if you want to. It's up to you how you want to engage with this live session today. But hey, actually jump off my screen real quick. Let's just chat. I'll answer a question. And then we'll jump back in and do a little bit more work, because there's this question up here in the top of the Q&A. It's been upvoted 11 times. It says, should a designer learn soft skills too? What soft skills are best for a designer? That is a great question. I'll give you 3 right off the top of my head. Number 1, I think resourcefulness is a huge skill. Being resourceful and not having a give up attitude. When somebody asks you to do something, maybe you don't know how to do it. You're the type of person that says, I will go out and figure out how to do it. I'll find somebody who knows how to do it. I'll learn some basics of it, bring it back. We can collaborate. That's somebody being resourceful. I think that is a huge soft skill that will be so important to you as a junior product designer. Number 2, communication. You ever see on a job application, it says, must be a good communicator? That's not always the case. Everyone goes, of course I'm a good communicator. But there are skills to communication, and we've talked about some of them in the course actually. How to document your designs. That's a form of communication, right? How to invite people into your processes and collaborate. That's a form of communication. And so I think number 1, I think you need to be resourceful. Number 2, you need to be a good communicator. And number 3, you have to have empathy, and you need to learn how to empathize, which is to get yourself out of your wants, your needs, what you're good at, what you like, and instead say, what do other people want? In our case, what does the user need? What does the business need? What is going to be the most successful and make this person come back and love this thing, not because you've manipulated them with what you want, but instead because you've helped them solve their problem. Back to our Uber conversation. Uber figured this out really early on. They looked at a problem and they empathized with users, those users being folks that were hailing taxis, who were trying to find a cab, who needed to get a ride. And they empathized with their pain points. They said, man, I hate these two things for you. I'm frustrated at these two things for you. Number one, that when you call a cab, you're waiting for it. You're not sure if that cab's coming. Or if you walk out on the street and wave, you're hoping you get one. That is a frustrating experience. This is empathy. Ready? I'm frustrated for you. I want you to get a cab and know that it's coming. I want you to have that confidence. And then number two, they said, hey, once you get in, I'm frustrated for you that you're constantly going, do I have my wallet? How am I going to pay for this? Does the driver take card? I don't want that for you. That frustrates me. So we're going to handle these two things. We're going to let people order a car. We're going to let them know that it's coming, right? You can see it inside the Uber app. And number two, inside of the app, you're going to put your payment information. You don't even have to do anything. Just leave the cab. It's already paid for. They solved those problems because they empathized first. And I bet you a lot of those people didn't know how to solve those problems. And so they went out and they were resourceful and they had to communicate with one another to solve them. So those are my top three. That's a great question. Let's dive back into my screen. We'll talk a little bit more about solving problems, and we'll talk just a little bit for the next few minutes. Let's talk about Figma. Let's do a little bit of UI design, because here's a problem that this interface is solving. We're aggregating information. On this one screen, I can see users, I can see the content I'm looking for, I can navigate around easily. And so we want to create interfaces like this that are super usable, that are super clear and clean, and make a lot of sense. But how do we create interfaces like this? Well, let's just recreate some of these line items, some of these cell rows that we have in here. Some people call them rows, some people call them cells, some people call them different things, but let's really recreate it just for a little bit of fun. I'm going to hit F for frame. I'm going to draw a frame out inside of Figma, and then I'm going to hit Command /. That brings up our quick selector inside of Figma. I'm going to find a plugin that I have installed. Plugins inside of Figma are amazing, and we have an entire section throughout the entire course where we talk about plugins. Okay, let's do portrait of a person. We'll pop it in there. Great. Now we have an avatar. I'm going to round these corners. Boom, and now we have a beautiful avatar, just like so. Next, we're going to borrow some text really quickly here, and we're going to do a quick little jibber jabber about making typographic scales, shall we? So I'm going to put in a name, and we have this color, right, which is let's see, F7A 98F. I really like that color. Well, the problem that I have here is that I have a main branding color, but what's this color? I like this color. I want to save this and start creating systems and patterns that I can constantly reuse, because that's the smart way to work. Smarter, not harder. We do entire sections on how to create design systems, pattern libraries, how to identify user interface common patterns that you'll use in UI and UX design. So for instance, I really like this color. We should really use this. I'm going to hit this little element over here that's going to save my system color. I'll hit a plus. Let's call this, I don't know, we'll call this secondary. Okay. And we'll talk more about organizing stuff and content inside of there. But we can do the same thing with our typography. We've got this Rubik medium, and it's a 13, and it has styles of character or letter spacing and line height and all that stuff. We like that. We want to save that. So let's go ahead and do that. I got a little funkiness with my screen there. Let's save this text, shall we? We're going to create a text style here. We'll call this mini headline. Again, there's lots of ways to organize your text, but look what I have now up in my right-hand side in my styles panel of Figma. I have my color and I have my mini headline that's saved. Now I can do the same thing with these, with this body copy if I want. I could do all of that, but we would then be creating a system and a structure, right? You do that with your avatar. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Shift A and throw these into a little bit of something we call an auto layout. What's great about this is if I add new items in, everything is now controlled by this containing element, this layout, and I can space everything evenly if I want to, right? We can get those things out. We don't need those. And you can even put auto layouts, Shift A right now, into other auto layouts, right? So now I have this avatar as part of this nested auto layout. Again, what's so great about that? If I need to put more things in there, it's stacking them horizontally, and this one over here stacking them vertically. And this is how you can create really reusable and beautiful elements inside of Figma, okay? Now let's do another thing. Because auto layouts are frames and frames are just kind of containers, if you've ever done any sort of coding or web design, we can manipulate these elements and we can actually add a bit of padding. So let's add about 16 pixels of padding on each side, okay? And then if we want to, if we like this style, we can stay with that style, or we can create a new style. Why don't we add a little bit of an effect down here, a very light drop shadow, and we actually just want to add it on the frame itself, right? So boom, boom. Let's give it a fill of white, and then let's add our effect now, our drop shadow in the bottom right-hand corner here. A nice drop shadow. I like to do my drop shadows under 8%. Really, the lighter, the better. Okay, and if you have trouble with contrast, something we talk about in the course, you can't really see the card, that's a contrast issue. We need to do one of two things. We either need to add some contrast with color, we can add a simple border or stroke around this thing and bring the color of that way down. And why don't we just go ahead and curve around the corners of this to be about 8 pixels. We're making a different style here, and that's cool. You can try all sorts of different styles. But now we have this card. I like it. I think it looks really, really good. Let's drop another version of it down here. Take both of them, Shift A, and we've created a new style, a new card. I can put multiple of these inside my auto layout. And if I don't like the spacing here, again, I can change the spacing all at one time to 16 pixels. You'll notice I'm using a lot of things that are divisible by 8. I'm a firm believer in the 8-pixel grid, the material design 8-pixel grid. And so I'll encourage you to do that. But again, we'll talk about layouts, grids, typographic scale, all sorts of stuff, and how to work those inside of your designs in the course. Now from here, I really like this component. So what do I want to do? I want to create a component out of it. You can see we name our component. Let's just name it something like card. And I'm going to create a new page. I'll call this my system over here, okay? System without that Y in it, because that doesn't make any sense. I'll right click and I'll say, hey, move this over to my system page. Now we have the start of, watch out now, let's go back to our project. We lost it there. We have the start of our design system, right? We have our card inside. If we needed a variation of this card, we could do that. Let's say we had a button. We could do, let's make a button really quickly, shall we? Make a button like this, drag this out. Let's use one of our colors, like our main color. I'll grab my text here. I'm going to punch this inside and we'll make this white. And actually what you can do is instead, I'm just going to take this white, Shift A, I'm going to turn it into an auto layout because that turns it into a frame. And then I'll fill it with my color. I'll round the corners a little bit and we will manipulate the spacing of everything. Let's just do 16 pixels on the left and right hand edge. Beautiful. And we'll space our button out. Let's make sure, using our little control panel here for auto layouts, let's make sure our text always stays in the middle. I love it. And if we did like this button, we could name this button, create a component out of it. And look, now anywhere that we're working, we can always in Figma access our assets panel, and we have access to instances of our components. So we can pop them down here, and components can all be manipulated if you want them to. But what's great is later on, and this is the beauty of design systems and using assets inside of Figma, if I decide I want the fill of this to be more of that secondary color, well then I change it in one place and look, it changes it everywhere. How about this one? If I change my secondary color and I say, actually, I don't like this peach color, I want it to be more like purple and really stand out. Look, I changed it in one place and it changes it everywhere. It's amazing. It's mind blowing. And so this is the type of design we want to teach you. We want to teach you digital product design, problem solving, the tools that will help you do that, but not only do that, but work smarter, not harder, creating design systems, patterns, wireframes, user flow diagrams. I am talking so fast because I'm trying to fit so much about what this course is all about into this 50 minutes. And it's just, I just hope that you sign up for the course, because really, and we can jump off the screen because we're going to answer questions now. This is the into digital product design. Lost me there for a second, but you didn't lose my voice. I'm still here. We're going to just take the screen away. If you've ever wanted to transition from one section of the industry into digital product design, this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity. You're going to learn so much in this course. You're going to get hours of video content, mentorship sessions, live sessions with industry standard or industry leaders like myself or MDS or Jessica Coe or Brad Frost or all of these amazing people who are stopping by. And can I tell you something? It's so cool that every single cohort has different cameos from amazing industry leaders. So the one that the industry leaders that come in and make like cameos and guest spots in their live streams for you might be different. You might get something like a once in a lifetime opportunity, a very customized, tailored experience to you, especially with those communities and those mentor sessions you'll have. And so if you're like, man, I feel like right now I'm drinking out of a fire hydrant, like it's just too much information, don't worry, it'll slow down and you'll actually be able to dig in, actually be able to understand each of these principles in full. If you are tired of watching YouTube channels, trust me, I have a YouTube channel, I make YouTube content, I do my best to create content that educates, entertains, and helps people grow in the industry. But if you're like, it's just so hard, I need something a little bit more structured that challenges me, this might be the time for you. This might be the time for you. Let's answer some of these questions, and then we will release you on your way. And hopefully, you'll consider using that 40% off, because it's last opportunity for you guys to get 40% off in this course. After that, it goes full price. Ike says, how did you break into the product design industry? I'll tell you a funny story. I broke into the product design industry on a complete whim and by a total happenstance, as most things tend to happen in the design industry. I was, waiting tables, washing dishes, and somebody convinced me that I could do something that was a little bit more creative, that I could use. I was always a problem-solving type kid, and I could use those skills. So I started doing graphic design to web design to front-end development into UI design. And then I fell in love with UI and UX design, but I wanted to be a larger part of the process. I wanted to think big. I wanted to be there from start to finish. And so I had the opportunity to work on some volunteer projects in my area at hackathons and kind of meetups and different stuff that allowed me to realize that I needed more skills. It wasn't just about visual design anymore. It was about so much more. It really was tapping into my desire to figure out what's going on under the hood of the car. I want to make the car beautiful, but I also really care about the engine. So I'm that type of person. And I had a couple hackathon and local community experiences that challenged me. And then I started working for a startup. I worked for a startup for 3 years, and I learned so much there, so much more than I thought I already knew. And now I spend my time doing a lot of digital product design, UI, UX design as a freelancer for companies like Apple and Nike and Adobe and stuff like that. So it's been really, really good. It's a lot of fun. And I have freelance clients right now that I love working with. And so that's kind of the evolution. That answered more than your question, but that's the evolution of how I got into the product design industry and where I'm currently at, what I'm doing now. Next one is by Ivana. It says, how much in depth does this course go? Very in depth. Like I said, it feels like you're drinking from a fire hydrant right now, but you will have content or course material that you will work your way through. There's a schedule, there's an outline, there are mentorship sessions that will help you understand that curriculum, and you end each week with a live session with somebody who will walk you through and teach you some sort of new principle. That live session leads you back around next week to that new course material, that mentorship session. Can't say that word today. And then you will continue to work out those processes. It's a 12-week course. And so we take each of these modules that cover things one at a time so that it's building on each other. It's not rapid fire. Hey, let's do a little bit of this today, a little bit of that today. It's let's start with the foundations, build that foundation, and use it in the next piece. And then take that and use that in the next piece. And so throughout the course, you're actually learning the process of digital product design and all the steps and the skills inside. So it's very in-depth. And by the time you graduate, I feel like you will be very confident in this workflow, in this thought process, and in the industry. It's a great question. Heather says, can a director take this course to break into tech? Currently a brand designer for CPG. Absolutely. We have a lot of people taking this course who are transitioning or shifting into the product design industry because you have probably a fantastic design eye. You probably have great leadership qualities. You probably understand what good design looks like and how things should flow. But there are, like we said earlier, designing for this specific medium, there's some specific challenges. And so if you're transitioning, if you're maybe a director somewhere else, or you have a lot of skills somewhere else and you're transitioning, this will be great to help you understand all the nuances of this specific challenge that is digital product design. It's a great question. And so it does go very in depth. And yes, if you are a director or very experienced in some other vertical of design, this can be a great transitional tool or curriculum for you. Okay. TS asks, how is UX and UI and UX design correlated with data analysis? Data analysis, data analysis, and people who are user experience researchers, people that's going to be on the far side of user experience design, and you will find those people at large organizations, people who are hyper focused on data and data alone. What I've found is if you join a large organization, you might find those people, and they are a valuable resource. If you work for medium to small size companies or startups, they're probably not going to have a dedicated data analysis, like somebody to do data analysis or user research specifically. So you're going to have to learn how to use some guerrilla tactics on the ground, boots on the ground, in the process of doing a little bit of that yourself. We talk about that in this course. We talk about doing user research, user personas, empathy mapping, analytics. We talk about some of that. But this course is a full-fledged course that will leave you with multiple skills so you can walk through the entire process. This is not just a specific data analysis course. There's probably other courses out there for you that could make a lot of sense if you're looking for data analysis. Luciana asks, are lessons taught via video, live sessions, or text-based? Yes, yes, and yes. They are all the above. You're going to get pre-recorded video content with me, but you're also going to get live sessions with me, as well as live sessions from other industry leaders, and you get live sessions with your mentors. So that's a lot of live connection. Then you have text, Slack connection with your community, with your cohort, and then you're going to have the video content from me. So you'll see, if you take the course, you'll see me again like this, and you'll see other industry leaders and experts just like this live answering your questions. But you'll also have that time to dig into the curriculum on your own. So it's a great mix of all of it. That's why I believe so heavily in this course. All right. Courtney says, what are some preferred industry tools? Examples: Figma, Adobe XD, etc. I'll give you the safe answer, and then I'll give you the Jesse hot take answer if you really want it. The safe answer is tools don't matter, right? There are some industry standards: Figma, Adobe XD, Sketch. These are all great tools. If you're looking for prototyping tools, there's things like Principle or Framer. You can go to things like Adobe, I was going to say Premiere, but not Premiere, After Effects. If you want to do detailed like animation, there's lots of industry standard tools, and those are some of them that I will name. I'm going to give you my hot take. Are you ready for my hot take? I think all you need is Figma as a digital product designer. I said it. Everyone's going to go out on like Twitter and be like, Jesse said some nonsense. I think if you want to do digital product design, and that digital product design process is about problem solving and research and wireframing and user flow diagramming and prototyping and connecting and testing and then visual designing and then launching, I think you can do all of it in Figma. I think my next step would be XD. If you're a Sketch user out there, I'm about to hurt your feelings. I don't like Sketch. I think Sketch is dead. I'm over that platform because I think it offers a lot of friction. So I want tools that offer the least amount of friction for the problem solver, and that's you. I think Figma is right now my number one choice. I think a lot of people are going there because it is platform agnostic. It is fast. It is powerful. It is feature filled. It's great. Has great workflow. It's just super intuitive. So if you want to learn more about Figma than we talked about in this little intro session, I have a whole brand new 25-minute Figma masterclass on my YouTube channel. You go check that out. Learn more about it. I do a lot of stuff with XD as well. But those are some of my industry standards as far as tools go. Okay. Would you recommend this course to UI UX designer with 5+ years of experience? I could say yes, absolutely. It depends on whether or not you have a lot of product design process knowledge and how you apply that UI and UX design skill to the product design process, specifically business goals, research, testing, launching, collaborating. We do an entire section about collaborating and handoff and documenting with engineering teams. So if those are things that you're not you're really good at, like wireframing, maybe user flow diagramming and UI designing, but you don't have those other tangentially and needed connected skills, well, then maybe this course would be a great fit for you. And that's the thing you'd have to assess yourself. But I think so. I think absolutely. Reem B, and this might be our last one or two questions. Do I need to have design experience before taking this course? My background is in communication and market research. The answer to that is no, because some of these sessions that we do, some of my video content in the course that you'll take. Some of them are 5, 10, 15 minutes, and we walk through. I call out my key commands. You're walking through with me as we do stuff. You're learning the tool of Figma as you go, as you're learning those skills. But then some of the capstone projects, I mean, these are like hour or 2 hour long videos where I walk through with you, and I'm doing everything in real time and slowly going. And so there is very in-depth teaching that's going on here, and your mentors are there. Any questions that are not clarified in the video curriculum, which hopefully have clarified most everything, your mentors got your back, and they'll be there for you. They can answer questions about Figma or color or typography, visual design, UX design. They're there to help you not fall through the cracks and miss out on some of those foundational principles. So if you know nothing about design, this would be absolutely great for you. If you're starting from zero, I think you can graduate this thing ready to go. That's my belief. All right. Ismet says, do you have the ability to rewatch the videos? Yes. The answer to that is yes. Watch them as many times as you want. The only problem with watching them multiple times is you have to see this ugly mug every time you watch them. That's all. And then last one, Dan McCall, who reminds me of the name Dan Mall, which I'm pretty sure might be one of our superstars who are doing live sessions. Y'all know Dan Mall, CEO of Super Friendly, amazing design system master. He'll be there this year or during this cohort. What are the 3 things we can do between now and June 6th? This is a great question, to best prepare ourselves or make things easier during the course. This is a great question. If you're going to take the course and you're going, I'm so zealous, I want to start now, what do? I would recommend one book for you to read and one thing for you to do. Number one, actually, I'm going to go 2 books and 1 thing. I would recommend you read these 2 books. Number one, it's a book called, yep, it's right here on my bookshelf. Where is it? What's the name of it? The first one is called The Non-Designer's Design Book by Robin Williams, not the actor, rest in peace, but by a very talented designer. It'll teach you all about the basics of design if you have no design experience. Okay. And the other one is Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug, the new updated revised version. Read those 2 books. They're going to talk about simple principles and basic design foundations. You can read through those before June 6th. They're easy to read. You'd be done with them in a week and you'd have a wealth of knowledge. Number 2, start a Figma account, open it up, start learning by doing, start learning by failing, start making stuff. Go to my channel or other talented YouTube like channels where people are designing interfaces and doing product design stuff. Watch people like Femke, Charlie Marie, myself, other people online, and just take in this wealth of knowledge and try to recreate, because you have to create a bunch and do things and copy a lot first before you create your own style and understanding. So read those 2 books and make as many possible projects you can to learn. You're going to learn so much. When you start the course, you'll have a wealth of accelerated knowledge to begin with. And I think that is it for the day. There were so many other amazing questions that I couldn't get to, but the good news is if you join the course, we'll be there to answer your questions. Your mentors will be there to answer your questions, and you won't have to say, I wish there was more time, because there will be 12 magnificent weeks inside of a cohort-based process and curriculum for you. So I hope you join, get that 40% off. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you so much, Jesse. That was epic. I'll see you in the course. Jesse's doing live sessions throughout the course as well, so you don't just see him in the recorded content, you see him live and interactive. I'll speak to you soon, Jesse. It was amazing having you here. Right, so we're going to send you an email after this. It will include the 40% discount link, which is especially exclusive for you guys who registered for this intro session. The course is full price at the moment, but you'll get it for $1,799. Very cheap course compared to the other courses on the market, especially as you get your live mentorship and access to industry leaders and creating your portfolio. So take advantage of that discount. It will run for a week, so the link will expire next Monday. In our email as well, they'll have this recording of this session along with where to send your questions. If you are thinking about enrolling but want to speak to our admissions team first, just send them an email or book a Calendly meeting with them. So look out for the email. It will get sent around later today with your discount link. It will have some examples of case studies that other students have made in the course, so you could see what type of work you're creating, and it will have a contact form for our admissions team if you have any questions. Thank you so much, and we'll see you hopefully in the course, in the Slack. Bye everyone.